why go through the trouble with black locust? Some pros and cons when you're getting into it. Yes, black locust suffers from fungal infections that might not be totally apparent from the outside. Also, black locust borers. Also, I've gotten into them before when they've been full of carpenter ants. So there can be a lot of unseen things going on with black locust. So then I cut an elm sapling and made this bow, and it shoots decent, and it's pretty reminiscent of most of the eastern woodland Indian bows that you see, and it's got a good bit of string follow in it. Also, it pulls probably 45 to 50 pounds, and I've had this bow now for probably 3 years, 4 years maybe. This one was made using stone tools. To this next bow, which was made from honey locust. So now we're getting kind of closer, right in that locust family, but different. The honey locust is different than the black locust. The heartwood to sapwood ratio is different, and also just the density of the wood is different. But that's just a very simple, very snaky bee bow made out of honey locust. But it lays pretty flat, and I used a very light or slight fire hardening technique on that bow, and for what it is, it shoots pretty well because of the snakiness to it. The arrow actually gets to ride right here, so without having any kind of raised up handle, it's actually very close to center shot, which makes for a pretty decent bow. Next was the one you saw me make in the Stone Tools bow video. It was also in the bow finishing video. It is made out of oak, and it's made on that flat bow type of design, also similar to the hickory. And I did get a little bit of cracking in it from drying, and I basically cut this tree and went straight into making the bow. And it has a very hard fire hardening on it. It had, when I was fire hardening it, probably 3 inches of reflex in it, and since then it's settled down a little bit. But this bow also pulls over 60 pounds at about 24 inches, and it's cut down a little bit from what you initially saw me make in the video. It's actually almost a dead ringer for this bow that I've had for years. It's a design that I really like, but you have to have a wide, a large diameter tree to start out to wind up with a bow that's this wide and this flat. So that brings me to why black locust. Well, this is a bow I've been shooting now for some months, and it was made with a combination of totally primitive technology and also using some metal tools and just getting familiar with it. This bow is made out of black locust. It has all the sapwood removed. It's not even, totally finished out yet or anything, but it lies exactly like it did when I made it. What's impressive about that is that there's no finish on the bow. It's not even tillered perfectly. I mean, it's a little bit, the tips are a little bit stiff, and it lays exactly like when I made it. So I got thinking about that. Well, man, had I have really put a lot of time into this and had put a finish on it, maybe even heat treated the belly to get a little bit more performance out of it, man, I would have had an amazing bow. And I started thinking, well, how hard is it going to be using Stone Age technology to get the bark and the sapwood off. And is that going to be essential? Is that totally necessary? Well, then I built another bow. It's a bow that you saw in the squirrel hunting video that I have up. And it's got a hickory bark string on it right now. But this bow is built out of black locust, a black locust sapling. So I chose this little black locust sapling to make a small bow out of. I'm just gonna take the bark off. I was talking to RD Easterling and he was telling me it was a preferred wood for the Cherokee people. Okay. And it's just a D bow, and it's definitely been over fire, you can tell. Heat treating the belly pretty deeply, slash fire hardening it. Also, when I put the finish on it, I had it. And this bow lays, even with the sapwood, it's mostly sapwood. I mean, you can see the heartwood, the sapwood, even though the heartwood is very, very dark now. See, this bow is mostly sapwood. And it shoots very well. And it lays very flat. And you saw me killing squirrels with it, taking small game with it. It's about 60 inches long. And it is built based on the principles shown in this book, which I highly recommend that you guys pick up. This is what really kind of sparked my interest in going down the black locust rabbit hole. But as I've gotten through this book, I've realized that a lot of Eastern Cherokee preferred black locust. So this is Bowyer's Bible Volume 1. Let's see what it has to say. Some bowyers have had good luck leaving a thin layer of sapwood on the back of the black locust. Others has had their bows break immediately upon trying it. It may depend a large degree on the health of the tree, which that can be kind of hit or miss, we've seen. Getting the moisture content down to 9% could also help, since damp wood is softer. So that's why it helps heat treating the belly hard like that and then trying to seal it. Crowned back and a wide belly design is ideal, as from a smaller diameter sapling, limb, or trunk. I think, and the reason that they say that the Eastern Cherokees preferred it is, listen to this. This is in Field Book of Natural History, 2nd edition. Black locust, the wood, this is in regards to the wood itself. The wood is 46 pounds per cubic foot. It's strong, resilient, greenish brown with yellow sapwood and durable, close grain, swells and contracts little with changing moisture content. Swells and contracts little with changing moisture content. That's huge. That I think is what led it to become a preferred wood for certain indigenous people that had access to it. The next resource I checked is Practicing Primitive by Steve Watts. And then here he has a drawing of a black locust bow, and in this example he's showing sapwood left on the back of it. So that's interesting. This is the first example I've actually seen of a locust bow with the sapwood left on the back. So that's been a question that I've had about it for several years, is can you get away with that? Is the sapwood that inferior to the heartwood? And is it worth it to go through all of that to try to get away to get the sapwood off there? Is it a lot easier just to go with a whitewood in general? And the last resource that I had that I was getting into was the Encyclopedia of Native American Bows, Arrows, and Quivers. And in there they have a whole section in the southeast about the Cherokee in particular. And these are examples of black locust bows in someone's collection. I found the length that they described in here pretty interesting too. There's actually several in here made out. This one's 61.5 inches long. This one is 47.5, and this one is 59. So those are fairly short bows. And it doesn't mention in here whether it had sapwood on it or not. We know from the bows we've already made from it and the experimentation in the past, I've got high hopes that I'm excited to share with you. So stay tuned.